Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters, and today I have an extra special project we're going to work on. My friends over at Tamiya USA were kind enough to get us out an early copy of the new M10 mid-production. Now this kit won't be out for a few months, but we're going to build it today. Let's get started. Okay, let's take a look inside this kit. To start off, we'll start with the upper hull. And I'm normally, I don't do this much of an in-depth look at a model kit that I'm about to build. But because this is a brand new kit that won't be out for a few months, I'm sure a lot of you are going to want to see, as many pictures as you can of the new kit. At the very end of the video, I will have a bunch of stills that if you want to, you can stop and freeze frame them and really look in depth on it. But this, I'm just going to give it a quick once-over. The upper hull looks really nice, really crisp detail, and looks to be accurate compared to some of the other kits that used to be on the market. The hull itself is in multiple pieces, but looks very nice, as you can see. Same thing with the turret itself. There's two halves on that. And then here's your sides of the lower hull. The casting looks nice on the front piece here. And don't let this scare you off right here. Knowing Tamiya is excellent quality, I'm sure this will fit perfectly. Inside these other pieces, we have gun barrel is slide molded, so you're going to have just a slight amount of cleanup right there, super easy. You've got extra tube detail, which is where the shells would go inside, and even though that's in the actual body itself, you would be able to see a little bit of it, so Tamiya actually molded that in there as well. Got nice breech detail on the gun. You also do get 3 brand new figures. Looking at the quality, look very nice inside. And then you get 2 sprues of all the wheels and suspension parts. So now that you've got the base, one other thing I'll show you are the tracks themselves. Now they're the rubber band tracks, but if you take a quick look at them, they're really nice looking. And because these type of tracks in real life don't sag, and you won't actually be able to see the top because of the way the body is designed, I think these will actually work out really well. So now that you've seen all the parts, let's get started on the build. Okay, in an effort to get extreme detail, Tamiya has molded the inner and outer part of the road wheel as 2 separate pieces. Now there's a little tab on the inside in there, and the corresponding tab on the other side here. So you just take that, put it in, spin it around till you hear the little click, and locks in, so you get nice detail on both sides. And then there's only the tiniest little part right here that you need to sand to get rid of, because it's just one little connection point. Okay, one other tip I can give you when you're gonna assemble these wheels, make sure when you put the pieces together, do it dry first. Put the one inside the other and slowly rotate it until you hear that click noise. That click means it's made it up properly. And then taking just a little bit of cement, you can run it right around the inside, and that'll, through capillary attraction, it'll actually just go in there and fuse the wheel together. If you try putting the glue on first, it's almost impossible to try to spin inside, so the wheel will be a little bit too large and won't fit inside the next piece of suspension. This is a quick build alert too. When you're going to cut these parts of the suspension out of the sprue, if you look just at the front of the kit, you look like you just cut straight right across there, and that's the end of the sprue. But what you have to be careful for on this kit is if you look at the back, there's actually a little bit of extra piece that sticks up that's going to be required later on. That's going to actually hold the return roller. So be careful when you're cutting those off that you try to cut from the back so you can actually see. And I'll show you right here. Cutting from this side, you'll be able to take the sprue cutters, get in there, and not cut that piece right in half, which I almost did on the first one. Okay, now that the glue is dried on the top of the bogie here, what you do is do a little wet sanding on the top, and that'll get rid of the seam down the middle. Now, the other halves of the suspension are actually the identical part, just one flipped over on the other, so that makes that nice and easy. So let's go ahead and put this together now. Want to make sure that the wheels are going the right direction too. So flip that around. Almost forgot the glue in here. And then all should just snap together. Okay, and one other thing I'll point out while we're doing the suspension is that this is very side specific depending on which wheels you're making. So you really want to watch the instructions very carefully so that when you go to put these pieces on, there's a certain part that only will go on this side, and then the other part will only go on that side. So it's not very hard, it's just you want to just pay attention and keep your parts separate. So when you do finally put these pieces on, they'll just snap right into place, and you'll have the wheels going the right side on each side of the vehicle. Okay, and now with the aid of poly caps, all your wheels will be able to turn, including the drive sprocket, so that'll make the tracks that much easier to put on. And as I'm about to apply the bottom portion of the fender here, I'm absolutely amazed by the fit of this kit. That just dropped right into place, dry fitted, and as you can see on this side, just fit completely perfect all the way around. No playing around with it, it just drops right into place. One other thing I like to do is just to dry fit the chassis before we go any further but that's how easily the chassis fits right on. It just drops right into place every time and fits super snug. So excellent engineering on this kit. Here's another little quick building tip. When you go to put on the auxiliary armor bosses, there's a lot of them on this kit. My little tip to you is try to cut them off the sprue just like you see right here. This way you'll be able to actually sand 5 at a time, because you're gonna have to do the other side little by little, but this way you can knock out quite a bit of the little burrs off of it really quickly. And I think there's a total of 20 you have to put on, so any little bit will help you. Okay, I've gone ahead and completed most of the lower hull. I've added on all of the little fuel filler caps and some of the other pieces, some of the track cleats. One other thing I'll point out to you too is Tamiya wants you to go ahead at that point and glue the hull on. I would advise to hold off on gluing it, so it's going to make it much easier to paint inside the vehicle, because the inside down here is a white color. A couple other things I'll point out to you too. Tamiya does give you extra of the add-on armor bosses, so that if you do fire one off into the carpet, which I did, there are extras on here, so not to worry about that. Now let's get started on the turret. Okay, I've put together all the insides of the turret in here. It was nothing difficult or pretty straightforward. There is a little bit of push pin marks that you'll have to sand off on the inside and through there. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and put the turret together. The first step is using the push pins without breaking anything, pushing it into that, and then getting the other side in. And then we can go ahead and glue the back up. Actually, that fits pretty good just right off the top there. Okay, now that we have the entire kit apart again, we can start doing the painting. First part we're going to do is the inside, which we're going to use XF2 flat white, and paint the inside here. Also some of the interior pieces on the inside of the hull as well. So let's do that. Next coat is going to be the XF69, the shadow coat. Okay, the next step we're going to do is the olive drab, of course. I've taken the XF62 and put it a couple drops of XF59 Desert Yellow in to lighten it just slightly. Okay, as you can see, we've gone ahead and put all the decals on. Now, what I did before I put the decals on like all the kits I do, I sprayed the entire model with a dull coat to seal in the paint. And then what we went ahead and did is use the decals on it, and then about 3 or 4 coats of microsol. And microsol really got it to sit down and really lay into all the little nooks and crannies on that. And then after that was done, we put another coat of dull coat on. So now the decals are completely sealed into the paint, so we don't have to worry about them silvering or popping off later on. Now the next step that we're going to do is I'm going to do just a little bit of dry brushing, because of this is kind of a review of the brand new kit. And what we're going to do on with the light weathering is I don't want to go overboard with it. So we're just going to use some XF69 NATO Black, and we're just going to lightly go over some of the edges right in through here, kind of make them highlight and pop out a little bit. And more or less, we don't want to do too much weathering on this kit, because I do plan on doing a second part video where we're going to put it in a snow scene, do some snow camouflage on it, build a little diorama with the trees, that like from my other one, the sunken road diorama, but this time we're going to use snow around all that, so it's something a little different. So this is going to be, like I said, the review of the kit, so you can really see how the quality is on it. And then we'll do the diorama in about a week or so. Okay, one more step that we're going to do on this kit, and it's something I just kind of figured out recently. I'm going to take a little XF60, the dark yellow, and doing a little dry brushing on it. I found that this really, especially on olive drab vehicles, really makes detail pop out. The key is you got to go really, really light with it, so you don't want to go overboard. Really make sure all the paint's out of it, and hopefully you can see it on there how some of the parts start to pop out. It gives a light effect, and since dark yellow, or yellow in general, is one of the colors that make up olive drab, it kind of works really well with it, and it'll just start to bring out some of the highlights. It's very subtle, but you really notice it showing detail. Well, another thing I wanted to do for you is I wanted to build up the figures just basically and put a coat of, not primer, but a thin coat of paint on just so you can kind of see what they look like. The other thing that's very impressive about this kit is the figures fit very well. You do get a commander, a loader, and a gunner. And now I'm going to show you what they look like inside the kit. And there are the three figures inside the kit. You can see how well they fit in there. I will paint them up further when we're actually going to do the diorama. Plus also my friend at Value Gear Detail, Steve, he made up some of these packs right here which will work perfectly for sitting on the back of the deck of this without blocking the air intake on this. So looks like it'll build up really nicely. Here is the final completed model, and you can see I did do a little bit more of the dark yellow dry brushing just on there. Just makes some of the details pop out a little bit more. And you can see with the figures inside how they'll all line up in there. Get your tools on the back. 50 cal up on top, and then you might be able to hopefully see down inside there the brass shells as well. The kit is absolutely stunning and a very good representation of the M10. It is going to retail in the United States for about $48, and so that means you'll easily be able to find them in the 30s. So for a kit of this quality, this is absolutely a game changer in the model industry. Tamiya has just made an absolute fabulous kit at a super price. A kit that goes together beautifully, no fighting in any way. Everything fit exactly the way it's supposed to. In fact, fit even better than I even expected. Some things just actually dropped into place. You could almost stay there without gluing them. Just a wonderful kit all the way around. From what I understand, it is due to be out in August, and maybe a little bit earlier, we'll see on that. But I would highly recommend this kit to you if you're looking for an M10 Tank Destroyer. It's the best on the market, bar none. And like I said, for the second video on this, which will be out pretty soon, I am going to do a little diorama scene. I might even whitewash this thing and make it into a snow camouflage, and then use those trees like I did in the other diorama and make a complete snow scene. So as usual, thank you for watching, and stay tuned because we have more videos coming.